Holy, there went my 401k. This is Flight Check Season 4, Episode 19. We're back, once again, talking all aspects of FlyQuest. My name is always...
Financial Quest.
Yeah,
Financial Quest.
These are not the opinions of professional financial advisors. Buyer beware on all your LCS stocks. My name, as always, is Sandy Toes, and to my left and my extra left are my fellow hosts, Noxwar and Curly Double Q. Fellas, I hope neither of you had serious stock market investments today, because it took a plunge, from what I understand.
The last last stock market thing that I actually invested in and I pulled out in time was Dogecoin back in like 2018
Nice.
or 2019, whatever it was. So, or
Yeah.
I guess that's too early back. Whenever it was when it went big, I actually had it. And I made a fair chunk of change off of it.
I'm sitting
You
on,
invested in crypto.
I'm sitting on about 1,500 Dogecoin myself, and it went from 14 cents to 9 cents today. So, so that's feels bad. I think I lost like $80 in total.
Oof.
So, but we're in it for the long haul.
My friend is unfortunately invested in Nvidia, which is the #1 perpetrator of financial issues right now.
Yes, that is true. Well, you know who also experienced a bit of a dip this weekend? That was FlyQuest in terms of their League of Legends performances. Not the best weekend for either the NACL team or the LCS team. Now, I will note, we did wind up getting victories in both series. However, a 2-1 over Shopify Rebellion and a 2-1 over AoE, Area of Effect, raises some concerns. Because at least AoE, notably bad against the rest of the league. And this was a Game 2 loss, similar to the LCS team taking a Game 2 loss. Now, the LCS team, I think we're going to be able to point to a very specific thing or series of events that caused that loss. But we're going to turn to Noxwar in a little bit for more on the NACL loss and what concerns we might have as we're 1 week away from wrapping up the NACL season. And 1 week away from wrapping up the LCS season with a huge matchup next week. On a scale 1 to 10, how excited are you guys for this Cloud9 FlyQuest battle for second place coming up this Sunday?
It should actually be pretty fun. We'll get into predictions later, but like, I think a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, it's just done and over with." But I think it's a little closer than most people are going to expect.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Curly, how are you feeling about the state of the team overall after this past week?
It was a bit unideal, but like we pulled through, and something that I'm actually really looking forward to when it comes to Cloud9 is going to be Quad versus JoJo, because despite the woes of the weekend, Quad was not really responsible for many of them. In fact, I would say a bit of a silver lining for the team.
Okay, I like
him and Inspired really kept it together when things were falling apart around them.
Yeah, you'll find me in firm agreement on that one. So, all right. Well, that's going to be the majority of the show tonight. LCS and NACL. Besides that, what's been going on with you guys? Nox, you are not in your typical place tonight. You've been relegated to the kitchen, and a nice kitchen, if I may say so. It looks pretty good.
It is a pretty nice kitchen.
You know,
I'm pretty happy with the kitchen.
If you go on our Twitter, at Flight Check Crew, to stage right, Nox's left, you can see. Oh, he might be turning the camera now. You can now see part of the fridge that I see lots of Chinese. A
Yeah,
dragon?
my terrible drawing of a dragon and my translation of my actual name sucks at Chinese.
Okay, yes.
So, yeah. No, we like to meme a little bit on the fridge.
Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent. Curly, how are things
Yes.
with you?
We're doing pretty good. Yesterday I attended a Ren fair for a
Ooh.
little bit. It was real fun. I could not figure out what to buy because I ran into the same thing as when I went to a convention back in May, of like, holy shit, there's so much, and I couldn't focus on anything.
No, that's
And then suddenly it was all over.
And then time just disappeared, and I couldn't.
Time really did just disappear because we rolled up there. We met up with our friends that were already there. Wandered around, looked at things. Some people went into a labyrinth. So, someone tried to sell my friends a flower that was way overpriced to give to his wife. Like it was a whole ordeal. But like then the bands on the main stage, oh my goodness, dude.
Like,
they
were
were
playing like
top tier.
like folk rock? Like, what were they playing?
Yeah, no, they were playing like, because it was a
Fantasy
Celtic
folk
weekend
rock,
too.
you know?
So they were playing like all that, like they were playing like Gaelic stuff, like stuff that was a good mix of like, a classic, like something you would hear in a fantasy, like playing in Baldur's Gate, and then something that's just kind of like something you might hear on St. Patrick's Day, where it's like still got that little extra bit of rock. And then like it was full, like they had cello, they had fiddles, they had basses, they had lutes, like they had everyone up on there. It was a whole troop. It was top tier.
Awesome.
So it was a
Glad to
good
hear
weekend.
it. Well, you know who also had a whole troop, a whole cast of characters on stage this weekend? It was FlyQuest from top to bottom.
Well, we can ask you about your weekend real quick.
I worked. So I worked all weekend. It was
okay.
great. But then Saturday,
I see why you didn't want to talk about it now.
Yeah, Saturday we had friends over. And then yesterday I got to leave work a little early, and we went to Topgolf for a friend's going away party. And it was very hot, and I was a sweaty mess. But then there was a casino near the Topgolf, and so we went into the casino, and I walked away 76 cents richer than when I walked in. So I'm going to consider that a success. That
we take those dubs.
That is a positive bet.
That I did not lose money, and then I proceeded to today at work pay someone $10 that I owed them for getting me a smoothie over the weekend. So,
$10 smoothie, bro. What the hell are you getting in that?
It was from, there's this place around here called South Block.
You don't have to defend yourself, Sandy. You want a $10 smoothie, you can have a $10 smoothie.
You know what? Thanks, Knox. If I want to get a smoothie that's $9 and then I just gave him an extra dollar and told him to keep the change, I can. It's my given right in America. I can spend my $9 on what I want.
Oh man.
Well, you know who wishes they had spent less time on stage at LCS? FlyQuest with their League of Legends team, because they spent an extra game too long on the stage this week against Shopify Rebellion.
These transitions are something else, Sandy. Let me tell you.
I'm just really crushing them this weekend. This weeknight. It's Monday night. You can see where my brain's at. Week 6.
You're doing great, bro.
Fly LCS review. Let's get into it. All right, so this is now 2 weekends in a row where we go 2-1 against what most would consider a bottom tier team. I asked you guys last week, are the alarm bells ringing? We all collectively said, probably not. I ask you again now. Curly, I'll ask you first. Are the alarm bells ringing?
Maybe. I'm looking at them. I'm thinking about
pulling
it.
The bells?
The hand is it's pondering the rope that would pull, like that would ring them. Yeah, so it's pondering. Not committed to ringing them yet, but yeah, there is cause for concern
Okay.
for
Okay.
sure.
This is fair. What is there something in particular that is giving you cause for concern?
I think the biggest thing is that I feel like we keep giving ourselves disadvantages that we shouldn't be.
Mm.
And especially like, unfortunately, ended up being both side lanes this weekend. We're not really playing as cleanly or at the caliber that I know we have, you know?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that has been this case for Bwipo a lot of the season, where it's like kind of inconsistent. Which, granted, some people would argue that's just what Bwipo is. I would disagree with that, but it hasn't been working out. And then, despite last week me saying that our bot lane was the shining light of our team, this weekend it was a bit of a weak spot.
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough. So I think it's just we're not letting ourselves be as good as we can be. And then something I think that has been a year-long thing is decision making at crucial objectives. It's not always great, like whether to go for it,
Mm-hmm.
or if we do go for it, how we go for it. Like, it's just a lot. So those are things that I would want to see shored up when we get into the playoff stuff. But that is getting a bit ahead of myself.
Sure. I think those are some fair takes. Knox, how about you? Alarm bells. Are you pulling on the rope, or are you merely eyeing them like Curly?
What's I'm trying to think of a good meme, but like, there's not even like a really meme for it. It's just like I've maybe glanced at the alarm bell rope
Yeah.
once, but I'm not concerned yet and the reason why I say that is none of the other teams really look like an actual true threat to FlyQuest yet. Like the
Mhm.
closest one is Dig, but they're still so incredibly inconsistent and have only like really looked good against like other inconsistent teams or bottom tier teams. So until I really see like a level of dominance from, I think Dignitas is probably the biggest contender, and I'm still of the opinion that Shopify is the next runner-up on that regard.
Yeah.
Until I see one of those two teams really like put up a fight against one of the top tier teams with Team Liquid and Cloud9, I don't have any reason to really have any alarm bells, because otherwise I think Fly as a team has still looked has looked like they've had a higher quality of play than anything below them. So I mean, unless you want to ring the alarm bells for the fact that like, oh, we're not a top two team. Yeah, that's been ringing like this whole split, man. You're
Yeah.
like six weeks too late on that regard.
Right.
So, and I mean that's not a big deal. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still want to see the team continue to improve. I would like to see them break into that top two spot and then really contend for a, hey, we are a threat at Worlds, because I do think Cloud9 and TL can be a threat at Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Fly is like really aiming, or not aiming, not really looking like a threat at Worlds right now. They're going to qualify, but I don't think they're going to be like a threat right now. I would like to see them get to that point. So no alarms right now. Overall, I think it's just a matter of like, you're just going to be the third at any team at Worlds, and I want to see more than that.
Yeah. No, I think that's a fair take, and I think I'm in a similar boat as well. I think, Bwipo, after the match ended, he was in the interview, and he gave Shopify a lot of praise, and a lot of the scuttlebutt around them is that a lot of folks are giving them more respect now, especially with Boogie back in. Turns out that, maybe you shouldn't have swapped out, the jungler that, made you look good, in spring. What a crazy
concept.
Crazy concept.
What a thought.
But now people are giving them a lot more respect, and is there a pathway? Amazingly, there is a pathway for them to make it to playoffs. After all that, I think I was looking at the LCS Foldy sheet.
So Shopify has to 2-0. 100 Thieves, I think, has to lose 0-2.
Okay.
And NRG has to lose 0-2, I think.
Yeah.
And then they're in.
There are worlds where they go 2-1. and they
Oh, there
make
are.
it.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing: is Shopify going 2-0 directly correlates with 100 Thieves going 0-2.
Yes.
So that's that taken care of. It's
Oh,
just
that's right. They play each other next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really, and like the game before that is NRG versus TL. So like,
Actually, I misspoke.
there,
There are no worlds where
oh, because they had to 2-0 this weekend, didn't
Shopify has to go 2-0 in order to at least get a tiebreaker. I think they are basically, if they go 2-0,
They're striving for a tiebreaker.
I think they're guaranteed a tiebreaker. It's actually not even, no, it's a resolved two-way tie, because they would have beaten the team they're tied with, which is 100 Thieves.
Okay.
So
they beat 100 Thieves 2-0, and then
Yeah.
TL beats NRG 2-0. They're actually just straight through then.
So if TL 2-0s and Shopify 2-0s, it's an unresolved three-way tie.
Okay.
Between
okay.
Shopify,
because of NRG.
Between Shopify, 100 Thieves, and NRG. So NRG, unironically, is rooting. Shopify is rooting for NRG to win because that's the only way. Plus the 2-0 is the only way Shopify gets in without having to play tiebreakers.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, here's the thing: NRG only needs to win one game. They don't even need to like win.
yeah, NRG is in a pretty good spot. The only ways they get bounced from playoffs at this point are if they go 0-2 and Shopify goes 2-0, then they're going to be in that unresolved three-way tie. And that is about it. So it's literally...
Wait a second. Hold on.
Win one game and NRG is in playoffs.
I'm also looking at this. There is, because of the matchups this weekend, there's a world where the bottom 5 teams have the same series score.
Welcome to one single round robin of LCS.
Yeah, welcome to single round robin of threes.
That's actually insane because if Immortals beat Dignitas this weekend, and NRG accepts their fate against TL, and Shopify beats 100 Thieves, then everyone below FlyQuest is 2-5.
Do you think the tiebreakers are best of ones, or are they like best of threes?
It's got to be best of threes. It would be weird for them not to be.
It's a best of one.
Ugh.
Oh, all right. Well, then they're best of ones. It's weird that they're not best of threes. Yeah. But I guess for broadcast schedule, that probably makes it easier.
Of interesting note, to bring it back to FlyQuest, doesn't matter how we win. It could be a 2-0 or a 2-1. Either way puts us in second place, by the way, because
match score takes place over game score.
Because we're 5-1 and Cloud9 is 5-1, and so that would be it. That would be all she writes. So I think we are also we are guaranteed third. So we would be likely playing one of 100 Thieves, Dig.
Literally the team that scrapes in.
Yeah, literally whatever team scrapes in. But I think percentage-wise, it's looking most likely NRG, if I had to guess. Like, if we assume a TL 2-0, then it's going to probably be NRG, I think. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not overly... I think the only team I'm genuinely concerned for in a best of 5 would be Dignitas, because I think the firepower on that team, if they ever got it together, is actually scary.
Yeah.
But they just don't know how to play together is a thing.
Yeah.
Even after, like... Here's where it would get scary, in my opinion. I think if this team had another round robin to get it together, oh boy, that would be terrifying.
That would be.
But at the end of the day, it's a single round robin, so I really do think we should be able to handle them in a best of 5. But they're like the only team I'd actually have any like real concern for.
Yeah.
Then again, I've been over here jinxing the FlyQuest Challengers team for the past 2 weeks, saying that's the easiest schedule there is, and then they lost to Blue Otter and they're dropping a game to AOE. So maybe I should stop talking.
A very winnable game to AOE, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, so a should
win
kind of game to AOE. All right, so let's get into the series itself. Game one was weird because Shopify was like ahead on kills, and as I was watching it, it felt like they were just ahead on pressure and tempo. Like they just felt ahead, but then the gold lead kept creeping up for us. And then it was so funny. It was at like 25, 26 minutes. And it was when I was watching, story time here. When I was watching, it was like 10 o'clock at night. I just turned the series on, started watching. And my wife's like, hey, you know, we got to get to bed. And I'm like, which is fair. I had to get up at, 5 in the morning for work. And I'm like, yeah, I just want to finish this game. It was at the 25-minute mark. She's like, it's going to take another, 15 minutes for it to end. I'm like, no, it'll end in the next 5 minutes. 2 minutes later, we get that huge 5-0 ace, and then just march down the bottom lane and take the game. So, out of, nowhere, it felt like this game felt like not even because we were, ahead on gold. We had, out-farmed them all the way through. But, they were up on kills. It felt like they were, out-pressuring us a lot. And then we just win this great team fight and close out the game. So game one to me was, kind of strange. How did you guys feel about it?
It felt like one of those classic Inspired games.
Yeah.
Inspired's just doing his thing. He's contesting grubs. I think he got 4 out of the 6 grubs. Basically was just wherever he needed to be on the map. We kept losing fights, right? We kept having errors in the side lanes. A bot lane got picked off by Bwipo and Zazel. I know Bwipo got ganked up top. Things were just kind of falling around on the sides, right? But the entire time, Inspired's roaming around. He's getting farm. He's making moves on the map, and Quad was there backing up the entire way. And so you just kept noticing little by little. It's we're having these incremental gold increases the entire time of game one. And so as I was watching it, I was like, oh, I'm used to this. Just give it some time. Unless we continue to mess up fights, which we shouldn't continue to mess up fights when we have a wallet advantage, right? Because thankfully Inspired and Quad are getting us a wallet advantage. I was we shouldn't continue to mess up fights. Eventually we'll win one of these fights, and then we should be able to roll it out from there. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. We had that 5-0 ace in the bot side over by Dragon, and then we just ran it up the bot side into the base and ended the game. So for me, I mean, is it frustrating to see our sides losing like that? Yes, I expect better from Bwipo especially. But as long as Inspired and Quad are able to play like that, then I feel generally pretty okay about the game state, no matter what we've got going on. So I'll take it, I guess.
That's fair. Curly, what were your takeaways on? What were your takeaways?
I mean, the reality is that Shopify was winning until they lost for the vast majority of that game.
Yes.
And the one thing that I'm actually very happy with, though, is that we didn't let Draven mid do us in, because I think if we did, number one, if game 2 turned out how it does, this is a very different series, and this is a very different podcast. But number 2 is just exotic picks like that, again, you don't really want to lose to. It's kind of embarrassing, and so at least we didn't embarrass ourselves in that way. But then the other thing,
frame it as, oh, they picked some cheese. They cheesed us, guys, and it wasn't a real pick. It was a fake pick.
Yeah. It's not a normal game. How can you expect us to win that?
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
But no. The thing though is that we really were just kind of patiently waiting. We weren't getting big objectives, but the farming, we were able to keep up with the void grubs. Almost got the little void leans, And we got the Herald, so we got objectively like better neutral objectives for the way we ended up playing the game. And we were able to just kind of win through that, but didn't like being on the back foot the whole time. Gonna be so real.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. Does it make you guys feel good at all that, I mean, to be fair, we were doing really well on farm, and it looked like we were on the back foot, but we had like a small gold advantage, all the way through that 25-minute mark, and then win that team fight, and boom, the game's over. Like, is this like a case of, appearances are deceiving, and that, there was more going on than met the eye?
I really do think it shows a testament of what FlyQuest ceiling can be, right? Um, the way I'd almost describe that game one was like, how like back in like early days of like League, like season 4 through like season like 7, like against wild cards versus like Korean teams, or like even NA teams versus Korean teams, like we could get an early game advantage sometimes, and then
Yeah.
usually what would happen is like the Koreans would find like one single fight, take all the objectives on the map, shove everything in. They're super strong, then you can't fight because they're just better than you, and then the game ends. Like that was kind of what this was for me, right? Like we kept losing fights, but because we had better macro and better farm, we had a better wallet, and eventually when we did find that one fight, we just crushed it and ended it, right? That's the ceiling of FlyQuest. Like that's the kind of game, like that's the kind of level of play that like I expect to see from this team at all points in the series and like throughout the rest of the year. Like I know they can hit these levels, and so it's reassuring to me to be able to see that level of play. But it's a matter of consistency and how often can they pull that out, because as you saw in game 2, it didn't really happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we're done with game 1 or yet or not.
No,
but,
no,
like,
hit on.
yeah.
Let's hit game 2. I mean, we can.
Yeah, let's go game
we can move
2.
forward.
So I thought game 2 was kind of like a perfect opportunity, right? Like I thought Inspired had an amazing opening, right? He got the Lily again. I think he had like a 2-0 start. And then we just kept losing fights repeatedly. Sidelines, Bwipo getting ganked. Varus and Rel and Masu and Busio getting constantly picked and killed down on the bot side. Like this was a great mid jungle game from Inspired and Quad, and it really goes to show why the change was made going from spring to summer and replacing Jensen for Quad. Because I think you can really see there is a mid jungle synergy that's happening right now that actually has been kind of working. But yeah, games like this is like I need FlyQuest to, hey, similar to game 1, just because you're losing fights early doesn't mean like you can be losing like objectives around the map. And that's kind of what was happening here is we kept falling further and further behind, and eventually, also partially because Fake God is an absolute god. He's a real god, not a fake god. First like pop off series he's had all split. Like they closed it out. Like, and I think that's part of the reason why I think Shopify's looked better recently is like, Boogie's back and it's helping unlock Insanity a little bit. And then you have games like this from Fake God where he's looking like an actual respectable top laner. It's like, holy shit, this Shopify team can actually be good. And that's why I really do have a lot of respect for the Shopify team. I think they actually are higher power ranking wise than like NRG, 100 Thieves, Immortals. Debatably Dignitas. I think as an average right now, I think they're playing better than Dignitas, even though I think Dignitas' ceiling is higher. So yeah, I mean, games like this is kind of what I'm worried about for Fly, where it's just like I need y'all to be able to lock in and like I don't know a better phrasing than this, but I need you to have that Korean season 4 through season 8 like mindset or season 7 mindset.
Yeah.
Like that's what I need, because they clearly lapsed in this one, and then it kind of came back again in game 3.
Yeah.
And also a small request is maybe if the top lane matchup doesn't go well, don't play it twice in a row. Don't do the Renekton into the Gnar is an idea.
Yeah, I will say, and again, getting ahead of myself, game 3, I absolutely fell in love with the Scion pick. Like, especially in this meta where you're picking things like Jhin, Lucian, like, holy shit, what a genius pick. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, I do. I'll come back to that. Put a pin in that Scion pick, because I did want to mention one thing about top lane later. Getting into game 2 a bit more. to me it felt like, I mean, obviously there was one big pain point, and that was the enemy Ashe, getting 4 kills early. I mean, huge problem. In my opinion, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but bot lane just kind of lost the game pretty early for us. Like Busio he got kind of caught out a little bit and died, and then Masu had just a bit of a brain fart. It felt like, kind of going back in low health, and then just getting caught and dying, and all of a sudden the Ashe is up 2 kills, gets a couple more soon after that, and then, I think Shopify just felt like they were able to keep it rolling from there. So, as we have said before, in many ways, like when the bot lane, we lose when the bot lane struggles early. If the bot lane is stable and does well, then we're fine. But anytime the bot lane struggles early on, it's been very difficult for us to keep up in the rest of the game. Inspired has to come down, can't help out the other lanes as much. And I think this actually gets into part of my concerns right now is, and maybe you guys feel differently because you were just praising the Scion pick. I'm a little cold on Bwipo right now.
Don't get me wrong. I'm 100% with you on this too.
Okay,
I've been a little cold on him too.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not alone on this, and I hate saying it, but it's been a bit of a struggle bus for him lately. I have not been impressed. I feel like he knows he's not doing well, and I'm a little concerned it's getting into his head, and so he's trying too much. Game 3 early on, we were able to kind of pull things around, mainly because Inspired on the Lilia was just absolutely cracked. They better ban Lilia next week, because otherwise this man will just absolutely dominate on that champ. But Bwipo had a very, it was around the Void Grubs early on, a really questionable TP and engage on the Scion, where he kind of just walks in, doesn't do anything, and then dies. And I was like, hello? What are we doing on this one? So I feel like that is a bit of a pain point. And then, yeah, if the bot lane doesn't get ahead or doesn't go even, in game 2, it just makes it so much harder for Inspired to help out his top laner, and then things just start to fall behind all over. Are you seeing similar things? Do you disagree with me on that bot lane point, or were there other factors in game 2 that were more painful, more of a pain point than that?
No, I mean, maybe Curly has something different, but I think I completely am on the same page as you, Sandy. I really do think Bwipo has just not been at the level of performance that he bring. I know he's been very vocal about it on in interviews, and I think even a little bit on Twitter or on his Twitch stream. And he's seeing a sports psychologist right now, trying to get out of his own head and really trying to focus. And I really hope that starts to kick in soon, because we're getting towards playoff side time, and it's starting to matter really quick. So I think I'm 100% on the same page as you, and I really hope he bounces back, because I was thinking about All-Pro a little bit earlier this week and today, and I'm not sure where to put him. Sometimes the roster list of All-Pro is just really bad sometimes in the LCS, and you're just man, I don't know who to put here. Whoever I put here is going to feel kind of bad, because they're just clearly not on the same level as the other 2 people above them. I feel like Bwipo might slide into third still, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna feel kind of bad doing it unless he has an absolute pop-off performance against Cloud9 next week.
Yeah,
that's totally fair.
I mean,
Curly, where are you at?
Nah, it's even though I know I'm always a hype man, I will admit when things are struggling, especially because I don't think Bwipo is the kind of player who is against realistic criticism. He knows that he's not been performing to his peak. He knows that this has been a struggle, and then, admittedly, it's something that I feel started all the way back in like MSI and maybe even spring finals, and it's just not been able to be recovered from. Um, Despite the fact that we've got to we are 5-1 in the league, but the games that make us have, I think we have the most like full game series. I could be wrong.
Ooh, that's actually a great thought. Yeah, let's check that out.
Yeah.
Well, we've played 16 games, which is the most. TL has played 15, so they do come pretty close. TL has had 1, 2, 3 3-game series, and we have had 1, 2, 4 3-game series. So, it's pretty close. Cloud9 has, they're 11-3. TL, by virtue of the fact that they beat Cloud9 yesterday, 12-3. So,
yeah. But the fact of the matter is, we still have played the most games, even if it's only by 1. It's like, and the thing is when we get to those 5 games that we took a loss on, and then even in some of the wins, it's like Bwipo's consistently like the, hey, what's going on, man? Bits, you know. I'm hoping that he does get out of his head, and then especially because playoffs Bwipo to me is always a little bit different, especially because when I first started watching, Bwipo play, it was in 2020 and 2021 on Fnatic, so like that's a rocky time for Fnatic. Not that it hasn't been ever, but like that's a really rocky time for Fnatic where they have those moments where they're able to pull through. Yeah. So I know he has it in him, and I know he can whip himself into shape, and so I think we just need to get through this weekend. And then as for the bot lane, because I know in this game in particular, it was like kind of a weak point. I do think the general trend for them is actually on the rise, and so I'm perfectly fine with them going into playoffs. I think if they really tighten it up, they have, number one, Masu could still be on track to be Rookie of the Year. I don't know if we've talked about that much.
No, I think that's a great thing to discuss at some point. Yeah.
So but then also I guess you could consider, would Quad be eligible for Rookie of the Year? Even though he's only played for this one?
Because he played
in LCK.
For LCK so much, yeah.
Oh my goodness, yep. Yeah. The road to people getting to the LCS sometimes is very crazy. But regardless, I do see Masu being in high contention for Rookie of the Year, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
And hopefully we pull off a crazy, what some people would consider an upset on Saturday or on Sunday, and then that gives us the momentum to shake off all of this rust that we've been gathering over this split.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at with all them.
I think I think those are good points. Game 3, just to touch on briefly, I think we can much cleaner. We got right back on track. Very fast game. Had, a 10K gold lead by 20-25 minutes. It was insane.
Yeah. We're like, oh yeah, we are the 3rd place team, and they're struggling to stay in playoffs.
Yeah, we've learned we've learned what we need to learn. So okay, we're okay. Yeah, everything's fine. So in that case, I think we should turn our attention to next week, the all-important, pivotal Cloud9 best of 3 predictions. Lay them on the line. I will go first. I'm going to say Cloud9 2-1.
Sandy making sure he can't say he's copying either one of us. getting it up out front, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just getting it right out there. Cloud9 2-1.
Okay.
That's where I'm going.
All right. Well, I guess would you like to elaborate on that a little bit? Why do you think it'll be a 2-1?
Sure. So I'll elaborate. So 2-1. I feel like Cloud9 has looked more dominant in their wins over lower ranked teams. I am concerned over our, losses to 100 Thieves and Shopify. Even though we did win in those series, I have felt like Cloud9 has been more dominant in their wins over teams like that during the season. And I have yet to see anything that makes me feel like, oh, we will do better than we did against TL week 1. I don't know how much this team has really improved over the season, over this split. So I feel like we've stayed kind of static. I feel like we've kind of stayed in this third place spot. Definitely better than more than half of the league. But I just feel like we've not done enough in our wins and done too much in our losses to make me feel like we can get past Cloud9 safely. So I think it will be a 2-1 in favor of Cloud9. That's my take, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right. So I'm gonna ask Curly then. I'm taking over the host role here for a second since you were explaining, if you don't mind, Sandy.
Yeah, do it.
So Curly, you're typically the hype man here. Are you gonna back the boys? Are you gonna put the faith in FlyQuest? Are they gonna fly high versus Cloud9 in the final week of the LCS and take second place?
Absolutely. 100%. I have no doubt in my mind.
Don't let me put the pressure on you. I'm just...
Here's the thing. I am 100% with my chest full sending a FlyQuest 2-1.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What's the reason? What you got?
Well, two things. Number one, I have to be perfectly candid. I have not seen a single second of a Cloud9 match this entire split.
Okay.
Not one at all. And so that makes it really easy to be hopeful when all I look is the score lines. And I see the fact that Blabber and JoJo, to me, seem like the potential weak points on Cloud9. You can tell me if I'm incorrect in this, but they feel like the weak points on Cloud9. And it just so happens we've been talking a lot this split about how Inspired Quad are the consistent strong points on our team. And then this weekend was a bit of a mess in the bot lane for game 2. Not as good as they should have been. But overall, they've also been a shining light for us. And I personally do actually believe that we can hold our own against Berserker and Vulcan. Berserker, from what I've gathered, has definitely gotten more into form than what he looked like in Spring Split. But I feel, especially with MSI and the experience that Masu and Busia were able to get there, is I feel in moments of pressure and pride, they will want to push themselves to the limit. And so I feel like they won't let themselves get taken advantage of like they were this weekend. I feel like, even though they're guaranteed playoffs, I think they still care about, number one, trying to get that buy-in. Number two, it's like, this is the only time in the regular season that we get to face Cloud9, so we got to put it all out there. Top lane, I will admit, reservations, especially because Thanatos performing better than I was kind of hoping, because admittedly, I firmly believe in Cloud9's ability to take some imports and tarnish them a little bit in the way of Summit, but that seemingly hasn't happened. So that is definitely a point that can be put pressure on, and especially if Blabber and JoJo just kind of abuse Bwipo, then maybe it all falls apart. But that's why we got best of threes, baby. That's why I'm predicting 2-1. We'll get out the int in one of the games, maybe even the first game. But yeah, FlyQuest, baby.
You said 2-1.
All right.
Did I catch that correctly?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. Excellent.
So we got two people predicting game 3s. We got Sandy leaning towards Cloud9. We got Curly leaning towards FlyQuest. And so, historically, what do you guys think I've been? Do you think I've been the doubter, or do you think I've been the believer?
Historically, ooh
Yeah.
man, you kind of
Historically,
you swing both ways. So
it really depends.
You're impossible to predict.
He's doubting this week, though. I
No, you
feel it
know
in my
what? I'm
bones.
gonna. You think he's doubting? I think he's believing.
Okay.
All right. So which is it?
So, the answer here is, and I'm sorry, Sandy, is I'm a doubter.
Yeah.
No. Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Saw that coming a mile away.
I should be saying yes because I am also the doubter this week.
Yeah, so I'm sorry to say, but I'm joining you on the doubting side. I know you didn't want me on your side, but I'm on
That
your
being said,
side.
Right.
You're about to predict a 2-0, aren't you?
Yeah.
No, I am going 2-1. I don't think
Okay.
it'll be a 2-0. And so I'll try and wrap this up quick. I truly believe that the two best bot lanes in the LCS right now are Yeon and Core JJ and Berserker and Vulcan, and it's not even close. I truly think the bot lane of FlyQuest is representative of where the team is compared to the rest of the league, and that they're just a nice square third place, not close to second and first, and not really close to fourth, fifth, and below. I will say, however, that I do think, and maybe this is a bold take, but I think our mid jungle has been the best in the league, even over APA and Umti, and even over JoJo and Blab. And so I think that those two have been our main win points and win conditions. And so, with that in mind, I think we look towards the top lane, and it becomes very interesting, right? We have Bwipo, who's been underperforming this split, and Thanatos, who I believe, and I think a lot of people kind of agree with this, is he has really good moments of impressive skill display, but he has a lot of times where he's just not with the team, and it doesn't quite seem synchronized with the rest of Cloud9, and has resulted in some punishes. And so I think it'll really kind of come down to how hard can the bot lane not get stomped? Because I don't think we're going to be winning bot lane this weekend. Um, I don't think the difference between our mid jungle and Blabber and JoJo is that great, even though I think ours is better. So I don't really foresee a lot of advantages coming that way, even if we may get some small ones here or there. I really do think it will come down to, will Bwipo make a reappearance after his departure from Spring Split?
Yes.
Will he find the player that was within this whole time that he was displaying in Spring on Summoner's Rift versus Cloud9 in the final week of LCS? Will he make his grand debut as he heads into playoffs? That is my question.
This is sounding like a sports anime.
I'm sorry, but this is where the doubting comes in, and it's no longer the hype montage that I'm trying to paint it up to be, but I don't think he's going to make that appearance. I think he will probably do enough between Inspired and Quad to make sure we get at least a win. But I think the overall advantages that the bot lane Cloud9 is going to produce, and the overall skill displays that Thanatos will be able to produce, are going to result in a 2-1 for Cloud9.
I think this is a fair take. Curly, do you have anything you want to say in response to Nox's
you're fighting 2v1 here, bud. Good, like, by all means.
It's all right. I'm used to it. Forever the hype man.
So, 2-1s across the board for all of us. 2 of us leading towards Cloud9, 1 towards FlyQuest.
And I think that's all very fair and very reasonable.
So, I think, is there anything else LCS wise that we want to hit on before we move on? Or
no? Let's turn our attention to NACL,
the Salt League.
The Salt League, and boy, was this a salty series. 2-1 over AOE, and Nox. Game 1 looked good. Game 2 also looked really good for a long time. And kept looking good right until we threw a 7K gold lead at 35 minutes as Bradley tried to run into the base, got caught, and then we 4-manned Baron, took it, and then died. So overall, and then game 3 was like this weird thing where AoE starts out and, like, just starts killing us right off the bat. Surdy, is like 1-2, at 10 minutes. And then again at like 11 minutes, the bot lane gets absolutely slammed by, AoE's bot lane. And, at 11 minutes, we're down, 1.5k to the worst team in the league. So, I mean, I'm just kind of like confused as to what I mean. Obviously, we pulled out the victory ultimately, so like, hats off to us for coming back from that early deficit. But I mean, I want my money back from your predictions. Last week, like, you told us, Nox has DC'd. Now he's back.
Oh, I'm back. Sorry.
Oh no, he missed my whole thing.
No, I heard everything outside of 1 second.
Oh, okay, good. I want my money back from your predictions. You promised me some swift and easy 2-0s.
It should have been.
And this was neither
really should have
swift
been.
nor easy. So, I mean, in your opinion, I've got my thoughts on where it went wrong in game 2, but I want to hear from you first.
For what it's worth, does it make you feel better if I feel scammed too?
Maybe.
Yeah, no. These past 2 weeks for FlyQuest Challengers have not been what I was hoping the team would display. Granted, they're easier teams. Maybe you can kind of dial it back a little bit, and you're just trying to like feel them out and just like cruise into playoffs and get like just, I don't know, nice mental easy, like, all right, here we go, right? But we've gone into these 2 weeks and we've just been like not looking okay at all.
Yeah.
And I'm not even gonna lie. I felt okay heading into playoffs 2 weeks ago. I do not feel good looking into playoffs now. Just for FYI, I'm pretty sure our trajectory is to finish like 3rd or 4th now, which would result in us playing.
Not good.
I think which is scary. Team Liquid.
Ooh, yeah, that's concerning.
If we finish 3rd, granted, Team Liquid's not looked good either, but if we're playing another Challengers team, one who's going to have dedicated resources coming in as soon as NICL starts, that's terrifying, man. I do not want to deal with that.
Yeah, that's definitely concerning. I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think if I remember seeing the foldy sheet correctly, I think 2nd place is completely locked out for us. We can't hit it anymore.
Okay.
And then I'm pretty sure Blue Otter's locked in place, so we can't play Blue Otter. I think there's if CCG wins against us, they'd be 4-5. We'd be 5-4. I guess we could technically maybe play CCG, but that'd be terrifying if we lost to CCG, and that's also another really bad sign.
Right.
So in general, I'm not feeling good going into playoffs right now. It's looking like we'll probably play Team Liquid in the 1st round, and that is a scary, scary matchup.
Yeah.
And obviously it only gets harder from there. So I'm really, really hoping. I don't know what sort of training's been going on. I don't know if scrims have not been going well. I haven't really heard much behind the scenes. But I'm really hoping the guys lock it in going into this last week versus CCG Esports, and we can go into playoffs and like just acknowledge the fact that we're probably playing TL. It is what it is, and just really lock in. I really, really expect this team to be able to still make it to top 2 and go to Brazil and represent NA on the international stage.
Yeah.
And
obviously
it's going to be extremely disappointing after winning Spring if we don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing for me in the game 2 was just, being completely unable to close out that game, which was really frustrating. You're so far ahead. You have to be able to close that out. And, it's frustrating because they were able to close out game 1 pretty well. There were no problems.
Yeah, we've had a couple of these massive throws this split. And I don't know what that is.
Yeah, and just like these throws are just like concerning for, are we going to be able to trust that, they're going to be able to, do what they've got to do when it comes time to clutch up. So definitely concerning. I will appreciate, though, that game 3 fell behind early, but kept it close the whole time, and was able to pull out the victory ultimately. So hats off for that, but still, I don't know if I'm overemphasizing. Like, this is not a good team that we were playing. This should have been a much easier victory.
Yeah, but as a reference, let me do a quick count real quick. The amount of players that have played on this squad over the course of this split have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different players have played on the squad in NACL this split.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
how much turnover they've had.
Yeah.
That is how much inconsistent roster building they've done. Like, this is not supposed to be a good org. This is not supposed to be a good team.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're throwing games to them like we did is just not okay.
Yeah.
So it's got me extremely nervous going into next week and further on.
Yeah. No, it's definitely concerning. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see how things turn out from there. Curly, any thoughts on our concerns that we've expressed? Anything else that's been that is standing out to you as we head into this final week? And they're playing CCG, correct?
Yes,
probably
they are.
Yes,
the
they are.
best of these bad teams that we expected to do really well against.
I think the big thing, it's just kind of like the FlyQuest League of Legends overall seems to have a bit of a thing going on around it right now. With the fact that both teams are dropping games they shouldn't. And again, last week losing the series because of it. So I think it's not just the individual Fly Challengers team that is struggling. I think FlyQuest, no matter what happens this next week, as they get ready for each playoffs, they need to figure out what's going on in the department. Like, why is it universally underperforming for the expectations? Like, granted, it's crazy that I say underperforming when we're in third place in both of them and poised to stay in a good position for each playoffs. But it's like, when we know the peak that we had in spring for both, how did we let ourselves get a bit down? And so we just, it all comes down to that classic. We need to get our shit together in playoffs. And who knows? Maybe we Hail Mary some things. But I don't want to get into hypothesizing all that.
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting end of the season. Hopefully things go our way. Who does TL play in this final week?
TL plays.
Or sorry, some of the teams.
They're done.
They're done.
TL is done. Yeah, TL is done. Fear Starforge, who is just above us, is against Dragonsteel.
So there's
that's 1 and 2. That's actually a huge matchup.
So I will say, Nox, theoretically, now we did beat FearX Starforge. So if we beat CCG and Dragonsteel beats Fear, and we go to 6 and 3.
Oh, I guess.
And we have the 1-0.
We would have a better game score.
And we have the 1-0 over Supernova. So we would have a better series score over both Fear and... we would have the series wins over Fear and Supernova, putting us at the 2nd seed, correct?
Yep.
Yes, you're correct. So maybe the foldy sheet I was looking at earlier wasn't correct. I thought I only saw it was locked in for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah,
so.
and I think that
But
would
no,
put
you're
us...
totally correct based off of these stats.
Yeah, and I think that would put us at that would put us at the round 2, give us the bye straight to round 2, so...
Well, I don't think there's a round 2. I think it's just straight up 8 teams.
I'm looking at I'm looking at a bracket on Lawpedia, and it looks like...
I am on the wrong freaking split. I'm on spring. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's what the problem is. I see what's going on.
Okay. Yes, yes.
Nox has figured it
out.
My
bad.
He's
This is what happens when I'm not on my normal setup, by the way. I have a second monitor here. And I'm underperforming.
It's unfamiliar.
This is what Nox Kitchen looks like, So.
It's like having Flash on the wrong key,
Yeah, totally.
I'm playing with Flash on D right now.
Yep. exactly.
All right, you take that back.
I put Flash on F. I'll be honest. You know,
Wow.
F is
All
for
right.
Flash.
All right.
F is for Flash. You know,
D is for mobility. F is for literally everything else. But that's
makes
fine.
0 sense.
No sense.
How does that
No.
make dear? All right. Well,
It's because you know
all
why?
right, we're-
You know why? It's because
Why?
I have a tendency to fat finger the D while I'm I've got my fingers on QWE. I have like 1, 2, 3 on QW and E, so that I can just pointer finger over to R, or pointer finger over to F, very easily. Because I have a tendency to fat finger D all the time.
Well, that sounds like a skill issue.
I'd rather accidentally burn Ignite or Heal or TP or whatever than Flash. Actually, I play jungle, so D is usually Smite for me now. So
Yeah, and for me personally, I feel like I have a quicker reaction time with my index finger going from R to F. than I do from my
100,
middle finger on E to Q.
110.
All right, see now this is gonna be where I'm weird because for me I always have my 3 fingers on QWE and I only hit R, so it's less effort for me to go to D. But if you do have all 4 fingers on the keyboard at every time, I can understand why you would do F. But also D is for mobility. I will take that to the grave.
Maybe that's a question we should be asking. Do people play with 3 fingers on QWER or QWE in this case, or are people playing like League with QWER?
Well, I feel like if you're a pro, you've probably got the most insane, crazy macros of all time. You know, and you've just
Wait, dude, Nux, how often are you tapping your pinky?
On Q?
Yeah, wow, that's wow.
I don't do pinky on Q. It's ring finger on Q.
No, I do pinky on Q, ring on W, middle on E, and index on R.
Oh,
and then my D goes down.
You're.
Wait, I'm the weird one here.
You need help.
No, Sandy, are you telling me you've got your thumb on R?
No, I don't have nothing is on R. I don't have any.
Okay, so you do 3 fingers like me. All right.
I do. It's ring on Q,
yeah.
middle finger on W, index on E, and then the index finger can go to R when I need it to, because I don't want to accidentally burn it. And the index finger can easily go to F, and the index finger can easily go to D. Index does everything.
How am I the weird one here? Do people not use their pinky?
No.
No.
No one uses their pinky.
You use your pinky for tab. You use your pinky.
Oh, I don't even do Curly. I don't even use pinky for tab. I use ring finger for tab. Ring finger goes tab.
What? So you're just not using your pinky?
Here's what I use pinky for. Here's what I use pinky for. I actually just remembered what I use it for. To level up skills. I do control Q, control W, control E. That is the only thing I will use pinky for. Oh, and I guess I will do shift all when I'm baiting the opposing jungler into tilting. So
that's
I'm hearing is y'all's pinkies are weak. I use pinky for shift, caps, tab, Q.
What are you hotkeying for caps? What are you hotkeying for caps lock?
Oh, if I'm yelling at people.
If he has all chat on, he yapping.
Oh man, Nox yap, checking in. All right, I think that's a great place to leave off. Good times tonight. I think that's everything we got. Oh, really do want a quick shout out actually. Lace taking a, I think, permanent retirement from FlyQuest Red now. Sounds like she is heading to UC Irvine, going to play on the collegiate team there and pursue education, which I think is always a great choice for anyone.
Always a smart choice. We'll never ever shame anyone for making that choice.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is, mainly due to the wrist injury that she has suffered. So we'll be interested to see because I know we had, I forget who was, who we had playing before her.
Athena? Was it Athena?
I think it was Athena. You're right. I have to see transactions. Oh, yeah, it was Athena. She left in January. So we had Lace, Sonder, Starbound, Thea. Oh, was it Kara?
Yes, we had Kara.
So Kara stepped in
Oh, who
temporarily,
momentarily stepped in? Yes.
but
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
Kara is
Yeah.
also gone. So we actually don't
Yes.
have a fifth. And,
We're on the market.
We are on the market for a fifth. Floor is available. I'm just saying.
True.
For the right price.
She's cracked, dude. If we can get Floor, I would feel great going into Series 3 in Champs.
I mean, I would feel great going into Game Changers at that point. So.
Yeah, I would love to get Floor. If she's down to come play for FlyQuest, I would have a blast with that, man.
Yeah, 100%. All right. I think that's everything now that we've hit on all the topics. So thank you everyone for tuning into this riotous episode of Flight Check. Week 7, it's this Saturday and Sunday. Cloud9 Sunday night, the last match of the season before playoffs kick in. So you're going to want to be all over Twitter for our reactions and thoughts. You can catch the show at Flight Check Crew, myself at SantosDB, Knox at Knoxwar with 2 R's, believe it or not, and Curly at Curly_QQ_. Make sure to hop into the Flight Check Discord as well. All kinds of esports discussion and otherwise taking place in there. And if you missed any part of the episode, you can always watch the VOD on YouTube, which will go up tonight or tomorrow morning. If you are watching that and you want to catch the show live, we broadcast the episode usually every Monday night, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew. Knox, any final notes, shoutouts, or plugs before we wrap up?
I did have one and my brain is blanking on it. So I'm just going to say shout out to Deadpool, funniest Marvel movie I've seen in a hot minute. I laughed my freaking butt off at the movie. It was great.
Nice. Very good. Curly, how about you?
I'm going to give my shout out, and we're going back to the beginning. I'm going to give my shout out to Ren Fair workers because honestly, it was the first time I'd ever attended anything or a Ren Fair yesterday, and they do a wonderful job of making people feel welcome and comfortable and just setting an all-around good vibe for fun for people of all ages. So, like, shout out to people that throw on Ren Fairs. They're the real ones, and they let you go be your inner nerd shamelessly.
Awesome. Great shout out. Mine is going to go to the Olympics again. Shout out to Simone Biles for domination on gymnastics. Shout out to Katie Ledecky for absolutely killing it in the pool. Shout out to Noah Lyles for winning the 100-meter by literally a nose, I think.
Yeah, it was literally a nose. It was an insane finish.
Literally a nose. And all the athletes, all like 11,000 athletes at the Olympics this year. What a crazy number of folks coming together to celebrate sport. And we will also be celebrating sport the next time we get together to discuss LCS playoffs. So for now, I'll just say, stay safe out there, bite your teeth, and don't forget to hit the head on the nail. And we'll see you all very, very soon. Adios, everybody.
Have a good one, guys.
Peace, y'all.
So